Hey guys, Mila Clark Buckley, the Hangry Woman here, and today I'm giving you a highly anticipated video, which is my 6-month Ozempic update. Y'all have been asking me a ton of questions about Ozempic and me taking it since I posted a video about 4 months ago at my 2-month update. I didn't think that video was going to help anybody really. I just wanted to talk about my time on Ozempic because I couldn't really find anybody else sharing what they had been going through. And turns out that a lot of y'all wanted to know a lot of things. So I think that's how a lot of you guys are here. And hopefully you're really excited for this update, just as excited as I am, because I have made some major strides in my health overall just by taking Ozempic. Before we get started, please do be sure to like this video and subscribe. I wish that everybody who had watched that first video had also subscribed because we'd be this huge community of people with diabetes, and I think there needs to be more of that. So please, please, please do subscribe if you like videos like this, if you like cooking videos, if you want to learn more about what life with diabetes is like. I would love to have you on board and just in my circle and in my community. Okay, with that, let's get started. So I started taking Ozempic in November of 2020. If you recall, I will leave a video link to that video so you can go back and watch my 2-month update and see where I was. It has been a really interesting time for me with Ozempic. To kind of establish a baseline, if you've never watched one of my videos before, I have a type of diabetes called type 1.5 or latent autoimmune diabetes in adults. This happens when you have antibodies for type 1 diabetes, but you still have insulin production like someone with type 2. So my body still makes low levels of insulin, but I also have the antibodies that over time show that my beta cells are being attacked and I will lose insulin function at some point in my life. We don't know when, we don't know where, but right now my treatment style is right in between type 1 and type 2. So I am insulin dependent and I do take long-acting insulin, but because I make my own insulin still, I'm able to take GLP-1 class medications like Ozempic to help use the insulin that I already make more efficiently. So that's why I'm on Ozempic. My doctor wanted to start that as a treatment option first before making me do bolus injections. We've gone kind of back and forth about it, and this seemed like the best option for now. So Ozempic kind of regulates my blood sugars at mealtime without me having to do multiple injections per day. If you've never taken Ozempic before, it's a once weekly injection. So you literally pick your day of the week that you take it on that day, once a week, and then you go on about your business. And in the background, it's kind of regulating your insulin function. Well, I won't go into this whole thing because I have already talked about this. So go back and watch my last video about Ozempic. I kind of explain how Ozempic works in the first place, but I just want to get to all the questions that I got at my 6-month update and then update you guys about where I am and what my stats are. After 6 months of taking Ozempic, my A1C went from 10% down to 7%. And that is a huge improvement in 6 months. I will say that it's not the Ozempic alone, to be quite honest. I've also been exercising quite a bit. I've been very motivated to do that to help keep my blood sugars regulated, as well as just overall, I don't think I'm really eating better, to be honest. I still am indulging in foods that I like. I still eat sweets. I still eat fruit. I still eat burgers. I still kind of do all that stuff. So I think the exercising is helping to offset it, but it's really great to see that improvement of a 10% A1C down to 7% in 6 months. That's a really, really huge improvement. So I'm very proud of that. I'm really excited about that. And I think that is something that I can keep up. I didn't feel like I was having to necessarily I don't know. I talked about in the past how I felt like I had to exert myself so much just to get a good result. And I feel like I'm getting this good result without trying that hard. And that's very different for me and pretty exciting because diabetes is on my mind 24/7, 365. There are no breaks. There's no getting away from it. But for the first time, I feel some ease. I feel like my body is helping to handle my insulin production in the background. And so I'm not having to really like think about having to like bolus or thinking about how much long acting insulin I have to take or doing all these calculations. Like I can honestly just look at the amount of carbs in something and then I don't have to calculate in my brain, which I kind of appreciate. I feel like it takes a little bit of the weight off of me. And then speaking of weight, Ginger asked, and I'll call out a lot of you asked me questions, so I'll call out your names and your questions as we go through it. But Ginger had asked how much weight had I lost. And so in 6 months, I have lost 29 pounds. I started at 219 when I started taking Ozempic, and literally it feels like the weight has just fallen off. And like I said, like I am working hard in terms of exercise, but I used to exercise like twice a day forever and the weight would not come off. And it was just so hard for me to lose weight, especially with PCOS as well. So it's really cool to actually like be putting in the work and then seeing it actually work out. I'll insert a little before and after. The picture that I'm inserting, one is when I first started Ozempic, and the second is today. I'm wearing the exact same shirt, which is really awesome and like really cool to see. My hair is obviously different, but I just, man, it's just so cool to see that I've put in the work. And then Ozempic has also helped with that weight loss, especially because I can't eat as much as I used to be able to eat because Ozempic makes you full pretty fast. Side note, Ozempic makes you full fast by slowing the digestion of your food into your system. So that helps with blood sugar regulation as well as fullness. So I get full after like 2 or 3 bites or something and I'm done. So it's really cool to like just see that it's working overall. And I am very proud of that progress and so excited to see how much further it goes. Like when I do, an 8-month update or a year update on Ozempic. Sorry if I say your name wrong. Kari asked what dose I'm on. So I started at the 0.25 dose. I took that dose for about 3 months because every time I tried to increase to the 0.5 milligram dose, it just didn't agree with me. And my doctor said that I could scale it back down if I tried it and it didn't work. So I kind of went back and forth for a while. I finally got brave enough to try it again because I was like, okay, maybe I'm used to it and I'm not going to have the nausea. And at about the 3-month mark of Ozempic, I went full time to the 0.5 milligram dose. So that's what I'm on right now. We're not increasing. You can go up to 1 milligram, and currently we're not increasing because when I first started Ozempic, had heart palpitations very shortly after I started. And my doctor kind of like scoured the literature of the medication. Heart palpitations is not a symptom of Ozempic typically. So he was concerned that my heart palpitations kind of started like at the onset of taking Ozempic. And so right now he's just monitoring at the 0.5 dose to see if, anything gets better, if my heart rate normalizes. I saw a cardiologist for this issue and had an echo. That echo did not return anything abnormal. My heart function was fine. It didn't look like anything was wrong. So we have no idea why I'm having this rapid heart rate and the tachycardia. So we're kind of at a standstill right now. So I'll be taking the 0.5 dose for the foreseeable future until my heart function seems to kind of like regulate itself. And then we may move up to the 1 milligram or we may add short acting insulin, just kind of depending on where I am. But it's an interesting kind of limbo. And I'm curious if that has happened to any of you guys taking Ozempic. That was something that was weird to me. It was literally like the week I started taking Ozempic, I started having like crazy heart palpitations and we don't know why. So we don't think it's related to Ozempic. Like I said, it's not a symptom that's reported and it could just be me. It could be anxiety is what the cardiologist said, but that's all we know. Kay asked if Ozempic has helped with fluctuations in blood sugar, and absolutely it has. I find it works best at my meal times. So what I am seeing now is that my blood sugars don't go nearly as high after I eat something super carby, and it's actually like regulating back down to that like pre-meal spike level after I spike post-meal. So I reset my ranges to be anywhere from 70 to 170. And you can typically, after meal, you can have a spike of up to 180. But I wanted to kind of like shorten my range a little bit, give myself a tighter range to work with. And so I'm not seeing myself spike beyond 170 anymore after meals. And then immediately, like, I have that 2-hour heightened spike, and then I'm coming right back down and going back down to normal. And so I'm seeing better ranges with my blood sugar, which is excellent. And I've obviously noticed that in my A1C. So I'm getting a good average blood sugar, and I'm having like good fluctuations. I would like for my ranges to be lower. I would love for my A1C to be in the 6s, even the 5s if I could get it there. But that is a lot of hard work, and I just am not willing to give up burgers. So I love burgers. And French fries. I know they're not the best, but I do love them. So, I think that I could get there with some harder work or like daily exercise instead of like every other day exercise, but I think we'll figure it out as we go. And, I don't want to eliminate things like fruit from my diet or tortillas or burgers or bread. Like those are all things that I still want to eat and I want to have in my diet. And obviously like I'm eating healthy things along with that, but it would be nice to like not have to eliminate those totally if I could get my A1C to balance back out. I think something also important to note is that I also did a full panel of metabolic labs, and all of those came back normal. Cholesterol was normal, triglycerides were normal, kidney and liver function were normal. My vitamin D deficiency corrected itself because I did have a deficiency prior, like in my prior labs, and I started taking multivitamin. Now I'm fine. So I think that all of those things are also really important to note, is that my health overall is really great. And that's aside from my blood sugars. And that is really important for people with diabetes because we're at further risk for all kinds of things when our blood sugars aren't stabilized. And so it's good to know that at least my overall health is really good. And then now I can really focus in on those blood sugars and make sure to get my tighter ranges and make sure that I get them in a better place. So that makes me really happy because that's like one less thing off my shoulders and one less thing to worry about. And it's like such a breath of fresh air to know that, like, it was so cool to hear him say, like, overall you were extremely healthy, but we could work more on those blood sugars to get them in better ranges. And I was just like, I never thought I would hear that, because every time I would go to the doctor, it was like my cholesterol was blown out of the water. I had like protein in my urine. Like, it was just like, when is this ever going to end? And now I'm finally in this place of stability, and now I can really work on my blood sugars. Tiana asked, did you notice any issues with constipation or diarrhea? Tiana asked, did you notice any issues with nausea or constipation? And the answer is yes, and yes, and yes, and yes. I noticed a lot of nausea when I increased my dose to 0.5 the first few times. And so that's why I kept going back down to the 0.25 dose, because I just couldn't handle it. Like, I wanted to take it, but I could not stomach it. I couldn't handle it. I do have a video on nausea remedies that are kind of natural that you can watch if you're taking like Ozempic or metformin, those medications that really do make you very sick on the onset of taking them. Watch that video. There's like a ton of advice that I have in there about different remedies that have worked for me, and they're all natural. So that's also really good. But it was really bad. It made me not want to take the medication. And I will say, like, it's probably the first 4 or 5 days that you feel that way. Like, it feels like it's not going to end. It feels like it's not going to go away. But literally after that, it's nothing. Like, you inject it, you feel nothing. You don't have any of that nausea or constipation. Some people get diarrhea. Like, all of that goes away. So I think it just takes time for your body to get used to the medication. If those natural remedies don't work for you, and if you are still experiencing those after the first week, talk to your doctor, because they can give you medications that will help with the nausea and kind of like get it to go into the background. And hopefully that becomes helpful, because I think a lot of people experience it. That's one of the most common comments that I got on my first video about the 2-month update of Ozempic, was almost everybody said, like, I feel so sick on this medication. I have like sulfur burps and I have to poop all the time and my stomach hurts and I feel nauseous after I eat. And Ozempic will make you nauseous after you eat if you overeat, because like it's like painful. It's like, because your food is digesting so slowly, if there's that backup, like you get like stomach cramps and it just hurts and you feel like you want to throw up, like it's really bad. It's trying to regulate you to eat smaller portions. But I mean, otherwise, like once you get used to it, once your body kind of adapts to the medication being in your system, you're fine. Like you don't really feel anything else. And for me, like I said, it was about 4 to 5 days of that nausea that I just had to get used to. And I kept kind of like chickening out and going back to the 0.25 dose because I was like, I don't want to feel like this. But now I'm on the 0.5 dose, like I said, and it's steady and it's fine. And the like third time that I tried to go up to 0.5, that was kind of when it stuck for me. And it, you know, didn't give me any nausea or any constipation or like any feelings of like, ugh, like wanting to throw up. So I would say hang in there and keep trying, because that part is the part that sucks the most, but then you get all these benefits from it, which are so awesome. Benata asked about having like sweet cravings, and they said that they didn't get nausea, which is awesome because a lot of people do, but they have cravings, like sweet cravings. I definitely don't. Like I feel like Ozempic has made me not crave food that much anymore. I just like, I'm rarely hungry, which is very weird to say. And I just kind of have to like time my meals and eat when I know I'm supposed to eat, and eat because I know I'm supposed to, and not necessarily because I'm like, I'm starving, I need to eat right now, or I'm like super hungry. And that has been a very weird feeling for me, because I feel like my brain used to think about food like 24/7, especially with taking insulin. Like insulin makes you so hungry. It makes you want to eat so much, and it makes you gain weight. And so I, you know, feel like I'm getting the double benefit of having to take insulin, which is also helping my blood sugar. I take Tresiba, which is a long-acting insulin in your body. You take it once a day, most people do, and that's your whole dose for 24 hours, and then you just take it again after 24 hours. And like getting on insulin, I was like starving all the time and always wanting to eat something. And now that like extra benefit of Ozempic is like I get the good blood sugars with Tresiba, plus the blood sugar benefits that Ozempic gives me, but also not the hunger. It like cancels out the hunger that I used to have with taking insulin. So it's an interesting benefit, but I don't feel like I get sweet cravings. I don't feel like I get cravings at all. Like I just kind of know it's time to eat because I'm supposed to, and then I do. I, like I said, still love my food. Y'all know I'm always cooking something. I'm always like doing something, I don't know, with my food, but I definitely feel like it has canceled out that like all the cravings and the hunger that I used to have all the time. And like I said, it's a weird feeling because I have always felt hungry all the time. And then now it's like, I have to like, I don't want to say force myself to eat, but I do have to like convince myself like, okay, you should actually eat something, which like I said, is just like a totally mind-blowing thing for me. It's like super weird. Honestly, for me, I feel like I will take Ozempic for the rest of my life if I have to, because it is low lift in terms of my diabetes routine. So being a once weekly injection, I don't have to remember to do it every day. I put it on my calendar for my weekly injection, and then I just do it and I don't have to think about it. I love that it regulates my blood sugars at mealtime, so I don't have to take a short-acting insulin to do that. I love the weight loss benefits of it. It has been helping me so much to be able to lose weight. I just overall am like really happy that this medication exists and that my doctor gave it to me as an option to try, and that it's actually working for me. I will say the nausea sucks at first, but after about 3 months, I didn't experience nausea anymore, and it was really easy to get by and get through my day. And also, I just feel like it's like a wonder drug. It's one of those medications that is just like, I can't believe that it exists. It's kind of amazing. What I have heard is that sometime later this year, Ozempic is also going to be utilized and approved for obesity and for use in treating obesity, which I think will be awesome for people who really want to lose weight. I think the downside, as we all know, is that Ozempic is so expensive. So even on like the 0.5 dose, my retail price of Ozempic is like $900. And I don't pay $900. I have insurance, but I just thought to myself, if I ever lost my insurance one day, I would be so upset because $900 is like not something that I could pay every month to have this medication. There are coupons out there. There is a patient assistance program. Those options are there, but they're limited and they don't always, I don't want to say they don't always help, but they don't always help everyone. And that is kind of sad because I feel like people who would want access to this medication should have access to it, and it's so far out of reach for so many people because it's so expensive. So that's the one downside, but I will put links in the description to coupons and like how you can get it for cheaper, because you should not have to pay like so much money to be able to get this medication. And then also, I just hope you guys liked this update. If you have any more questions, please feel free to ask them, but I took the most common questions that I got and distilled it down. I know you guys wanted to hear about my A1C, about my weight loss, about just like overall like being nauseous. And I will say like that is the worst part, but once you get past it, like you get the best benefits that you could get that you're looking for. So it's definitely something to ask your doctor about. If it's not hard to take the injection, I also have a video on that in case you're curious about how to actually inject it, because it's a tiny little needle. It doesn't even hurt. You don't even feel it going in. Like it's nothing. And you only have to do it once a week. So those are all, I think, great benefits of it and medications like it. All right. If you made it to the end, bless you. Thank you for listening to me talk for these 20 some odd minutes about this medication. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Share it with somebody who you think might want to know about Ozempic. And please do in the comments tell me about your experience with Ozempic. I want to know the good, the bad, the ugly, how you felt on it, what it's done for you. I think it's really encouraging for other people to see those messages in the comment section when it comes to deciding if this is something for them or not. And your input is always just so helpful and so wonderful. And I love seeing your stories and your comments. So do leave those down below. And I appreciate you guys watching so much. I hope you enjoyed this update, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.